Okay. Like I said, I was pretty much done with the GI Joe Retaliation stuff, but I actually saw a couple of the other figures in Toys R Us, and this one kind of enticed me to buy it because just all the weapons, it looked like a really cool figure, and not subject to some of the reduced articulation, and actually quite gimmick free compared to some of the figures that I have seen in this line. And I was actually pretty surprised at my decision to pick it up. But it's a pleasant surprise because he does come with a bunch load of weapons, and the cool thing is that they all fit on the back of him. So everything except for his alternate head is there, which I love about the 30th anniversary figures and some of the 20th anniversary figures, is that you could basically, for the most part, they came with tons of stuff, and you can put them all on the figure. So let's take a look at the back of the package here. This is the GI Joe Trooper. So he's just the plain guy, nothing ordinary. He's a troop builder, and he's kind of got this Halo-ish helmet look to him, and this generic soldier look as well. Now he does have a bit of a trouble balancing out on his with all that stuff on him, but you get him into the right spot and he will stand straight. That's the only problem, is getting him into that spot. There we go. As you can see there, he does actually stand pretty well once you get him into the right spot. So again, we'll go through the weapons first. So he has this grenade launcher type weapon, so that's okay. And these are all painted kind of in a dull grayish color, which is alright. You got spots here to hang his weapons, heavy weapons here, that so you have this one, and you have a longer sort of sniperish type rifle, and you have these sort of revolver looking weapons. You got two of them. You have two smaller guns also there, and you have a removable entrenchment tool. You have the gas mask, which fits on the top of the backpack. The backpack, which comes off like that. And you can see there's still some details on the backpack. You can see extra rounds, magazines there. You also have what looks like land mines, which they could have added. I believe they were meant to originally be sort of the removable mines, which they've done before on these figures, but they basically just made the mold solid on them, so a little bit of a cost saver there. The blue cape, which I don't know why it's blue. I think a brownish cape, or even a green cape with a camouflage pattern on it would be better. But again, maybe that was a cost reduction. Maybe it's a plot point in the movie that, I sincerely doubt it, that since this character is basically a nobody, or an everyman, not a nobody. He does come with 2 knives, which are removable. They fit onto his vest, and those knives can be taken out of their sheath. So you get 1 knife there, 1 knife there. Kind of more of a throwing knife for that one. And there. So his helmet here with the visor down is a actual whole other headpiece that can be removed, and you can put on an unhelmeted head, which he has this mohawk look, which I guess a lot of the armed forces guys do shave their heads like that. So pretty neat. And you can put the gas mask on the head there. But there is a problem, at least for me, with the gas mask, is that you kind of notice where his eyes are on his head there. And when you put the gas mask on, the visor here doesn't exactly line up to where his eyes should be. So it's a little bit too high up on him for me. So I think he kind of looks a little bit stupid with that on. But that's just me. Now, for articulation... Oh, of course, I'm sorry, wait, before I do that. Of course, the vest does come off fully. I'm not going to take it off because they're pain in the neck to get them back on. But it is pretty neatly detailed, if not painted that well. You can see sort of the molds of the straps on him, and buttons and extra grenades of some sort, probably flashbang grenades. And so it is pretty neat there with detail wise. Continue on to the sculpt here. You can see pockets all over his suit, and the folds of his uniform are nicely sculpted. Now for articulation, both heads do go left and right and forward and back. The other head is a little bit looser than this head. This head has a much tighter grip on the ball joint for some reason. His arms do go all the way around. They are extremely loose compared to some of the other GI Joe figures that I've gotten. But again, they go in and out, or out and in. They rotate and bend at the bicep. He does still have the wrist articulation here, which is pretty good. It swivels and bends forward and back on one, and in and out on the other. So that's pretty neat. Upper torso articulation, it's not really limited by the vest. So that's good. You can turn them left and right, forward and back, and side to side a little bit. And legs go forward, back, out to the side. He's got double knee joints, and it closely related to the Marvel Universe figures. He's got this ankle pivot, which you can go forward and back, as well as sort of rotate on one side, but because of the mold here, he's limited as to how far forward you can put his feet. So it does kind of limit his articulation that way a bit. And I've noticed that the quality of the joint here is not as good as some of the other figures. It's really, really bendy compared to some of the other Joe figures, where the joint right there has been forced outward because the way he was in the package, and the way he sits the way it sits when he stands will, I think, bend that out more and more as time goes on. So that's just another thing to be wary of. But overall, he's not a bad figure. I don't really like the plain head so much, but I think the helmet head is pretty neat, even though it does have the sort of halo armored look to him a little bit, but it's neat. It's an army builder, and you do get a lot of stuff with him, and you don't get any stupid gimmick thing with him. And I actually think he's a lot better than the Cobra figure, the Cobra Trooper, which comes with a parachute. I'll have to see. I haven't seen the Cobra Commander. I like the design of him, and I hope the figure is as good as this one, but I'm not holding my breath. So I'll have to see whether that one is good enough to pick up. This is a really good deal, and it is much more closely equivalent to what we've been getting with the 30th anniversary figures in terms of how much stuff you get. And so it is a good deal, even though the paint application is somewhat lacking, and the articulation and quality is not quite up to the same standards. It's not as bad as some of the other figures. And like I said, he is a pretty good army builder for a Joe army. So anyway, I guess that'll be it, and stay tuned. Maybe more of these will catch my eye, but I don't really think so. So until my next video, I'll see you.